but you didn't say goodbye. I wonder why I'm standing now where you made your vow. So blue for you I could cry. Yes, leaves come tumbling down round my head. Some of them are brown, some are red.
He remembers being in his house in Coleman Road, and a bomb dropped just across the road, and a lump of ceiling fell down on his dad's head. He said he remembers they all laughed at him. It just shows you how close it was, you know.
This is Trafalgar Square. The noise that you hear at the moment is the sound of the air raid siren. I'm standing here just on the steps of St. Martin's in the Fields.
My name is Edward Reeves. I was born the 10th of March 1933. They call me Ted for short. I was born in Canning Town. Old Canning Town, that is. Very old. I think I was born in a house. I'm not sure, but as far as I know, it's a house. It was a very small house, terrible house. I had to have a shelter put out the back. It was horrible, really. We used to have an old wood yard down here, and there's nothing left of it now. No houses down there at all now at the moment. I think my dad only had about five or six. But my mum, I think, there's about 13 of them, I think. My mum was born 1900 and my dad was born 1901. The oldest brother was Bill, he was born in 1921, I think. Then I had another brother called Jim, who died when he was quite young. Why, I don't know. He must have caught some disease or something. There was a lot about then. So I tell you about my dad. Well, he was courting a lady, I can't remember her name, but he was courting her and they was both working in a ammunition factory in Woolwich. At the time she was going with my dad anyway, but she died for some reason, I can't remember what it was. Very young, she was a friend of my mum. My mum actually went out with my dad afterwards, and that's how they got together. Because when I was 6, I remember going up picking, 1939. The war had started, but it didn't have no effect on us, if you know what I mean. There was no bombs coming over, it was all quiet. We didn't even know there was a war on. When it first started at September 1939, didn't hear nothing at all, and in 1940 it really started, and in September 1940 we went up picking again. No, you got paid, you got so much a bushel. We had a big bin and just go up picking, all of us. So that's the only holiday you could have. And it happened to be, that's when it all started, bombing and Christ knows what, and we got stuck down there. My dad used to come down there weekends actually. He used to go to work and then come home, and on nights at night time they would do fire watching. Any fire bombs come down, they used to report in. Anyway, while we was up picking at our house, it happened to be that my dad was fire watching somewhere else when our house got bombed. And I mean bombed, it was right on our Anderson shelter at the back of the house, and the house got direct hit right at the back of our house. And that was it. And we was lucky enough we was down up picking. When up picking's finished, we couldn't get home because we couldn't get a lorry, we couldn't get nothing. Petrol was rationed, you just couldn't get back. My dad come down one weekend and told us. We had to get an horse and cart to a train, all our luggage, put us on a train and we ended up at Brighton. When we get down there, all the beaches all wire meshed in case they invaded us, see. We had a big house down there, and I mean a big house. We was in it was such a big house that there wasn't only us, my mum, Alice came down afterwards, and me, Georgie, Alice, and I think we had the upstairs. My dad came down and he said, I've got a house. It was a fairly new house, an old council house. Got all packed up, ready to come down there, and they got a landmine on it. Landmine is come down on a parachute, blew the lot down. So we couldn't get back again. All our furniture had gone again. So it was only a few more weeks and we got another one, and we finally cut back. I thought that bleeding time must have been, I don't know, it must have been 6 months or more. Imagine what it was. I mean, we had hardly any furniture. And that must have been 1940, 1941. They found me a school. No, I wouldn't go to school. A school would come round and told us we've got to go to school. So when I'd been to school for ages. When we come back, it wasn't so much the Blitz as air raids. We was getting air raids, but not as much as because the Blitz went on, I don't know, for a few months, and then he packed it up. But when we come back, it wasn't so bad. We was getting now and again air raids, but not so many. Blitz was sheer 2 or 3 raids a day, a night, continuous all the time. But when we come back, you might get one a day, or it wasn't so bad then. In the Coleman Road, we had a new shelter. Well, we didn't have one at first. Next, because we had a very little tiny bit at the back, but next door had one, so I used to go in there. But then we had one, they used to go in our own one, but we went in next door in the Browns, because they had a big family, but then we had our own one and we started going in there.
A searchlight just burst into action off in the distance. One single beam sweeping the sky above me now. People are walking along quite quietly. We're just at the entrance of an air raid shelter here, and I must move this cable over just There's another searchlight just square behind Nelson's statue. Here comes one of those big red buses around the corner. Double-deckers they are, just a few lights on the top deck. In this blackness, it looks very much like a ship that's passing in the night, and you just see the portholes. More searchlights come into action. You see them reach straight up into the sky, and occasionally they catch a cloud and seem to splash on the bottom of it. One of the strangest sounds one can hear in London these days, or rather these dark nights, just the sound of footsteps walking along the street, like ghosts shod with steel shoes.
They lost everything, all their furniture. I mean, that's why I couldn't make out about what happened to all our furniture and my mum's furniture. We must have had furniture, but I don't remember it coming with us, you know. We just got out and left it all. I think there was a lot of looting went on, you know. There was empty houses and they just went in and helped themselves. There's no stopping them really. No one would know, would they? I suppose you took all your valuables, but your furniture you just had to leave there. Yeah, he was 7 when the war broke out. Because what happened, his mother died.
As far as I know, my mum got it, she was ill. They took her away to Brentwood Hospital. I don't know how long she was away for, but I distinctly remember her coming home when she came home, and we only had like a 3-piece and a table in the living room. And I must have been at school, and she came home, or I came home, and as soon as I walked in the door, she was sitting right on a settee on the hinge in the front room. And I hadn't seen her age. I hardly knew her, you know that. She must have been away for a long while, you know. I just got used to her not being there, because our gran used to come round and everything. And she looked after us for a while. When 1942 came, and that was the worst part of it. She died in August the 12th, 1942, with cancer. I was evacuated again, because it got bad again, to Stourbridge, Birmingham. They didn't like us one bit up there. They hated us up there. And there was a lot of us up there because we got evacuated up there.
I remember getting at the top of a pub once, and getting up through the hatch and balancing on the top of this pub. My mum would have gone mad if she'd have known it. So dangerous. The kids used to make camps and stuff like that in amongst all the derelict buildings, you know. But I can remember when the fair used to come to a street right near us, and it was all on a piece of land where it was all debris, and they'd cleared it all off and they just put the fair there, you know.
A fine romance, my friend, this is. We should be like a couple of hot tomatoes.
I used to say, Mum, can I have sixpence to go with the fair? And money was so tight, you know. We used to love going on the bumper cars. I don't know how much it was, but yeah, I used to make the sixpence last me, you know.
Won't wrestle, I might as well play bridge with my old maid aunt. I haven't got
I think we used to have a little bottle of milk when we went to school. We used to have malt that come free from the government, orange juice, the little one, the babies. You'd have a spoonful of malt, which was all good for you, you know. I didn't like it very much, but I remember getting free school meals when we were back in Mary Street. If you was at 5 and over, like, you know, got free school meal. That's in the holidays, I think, yeah, in school holidays. Mince and potato and peas, I suppose, I don't know, and it's always a sweet. That's what I say, Churchill did really well. They made sure you had adequate calories just to keep you going, yeah. No, you never saw any fat people, right? Yeah, we had gas masks, all had gas masks. You had to have one on your shoulder all the time, yeah. It wasn't scary at all, you just did what your mum told you, you know. And they were not very comfortable to wear either. They were all tight and sweaty, you know, if you put them on. It was a precaution against the gas that Hitler threatened, you know. It probably would be by bus and train to, you know, the local train to the main station, yeah. Hardly any cars, might see a bus or a lorry or mostly horse and carts really. So I felt quite safe really. My two grannies were down there and aunties and my mum, my family. And it was okay. We used to play out in the street during the day if we wasn't at school. And in the winter, when it was snowing, we used to still not stay in. You'd go out and play in the snow and make a slide so that we had a slide, you know. And had a fantastic time, yeah. Whenever a horse stopped out in the road and it did its business, I had to go out and shovel it up for the garden. This was after the war. My dad used to say, go on Doreen, go and get that. and other people had the same idea, so the first one there got it, you know. You know, we had some vegetables growing in the garden. We only had a little garden, but there was another one of my chores I had to do. We used to get dried egg from America, and that was quite nice. It had very nice taste, tasted like eggs, but you couldn't have a boil, it had to be sort of in an omelette type. But it was quite all right. I think they must, like volunteers like we do now for the people that are hard up in other countries, send charity boxes or whatever. That one of my aunties had a family from America that used to send her bits of clothes and pack a box of food over, you know, to supplement them. And she kept in touch with her well long after the war, you know, used to, as a pen pal, yeah. My dad came home on leave from Holland. He only came back twice, as far as I can remember. And he brought some clogs for me and my sister, or coloured clogs, and we were so thrilled because we never used to get any presents. And we put them on, and it was night time. I remember it being night time, and we were running up and down the street making all this clattering of noise in these clogs, and everybody was looking at us wondering what was going on. No, it was fascinating, these clogs, really lovely, yeah. Mine didn't last long because they only just fitted me and my feet were growing, so but Joni's was all right. I did ask him, you know, when he was getting on a bit, and he wouldn't tell. He just told me that he was on the big guns in Holland, and that was it. He wouldn't say any more. Maybe not, he didn't want to talk about it, who knows. I know he had a good friend in a Dutchman in Holland, yeah. Yeah. It would have been early 30s, mid 30s. Yeah, when he came home, he was dishing out his pennies, and we were all sort of leaning over him in his armchair, and I stood back because I was shy, and he was giving Mari twice as much as Joan. She cottoned on Joan and created a little bit. She's getting 2 pennies and I'm only getting 1, sort of thing. Yeah. But when he came back, they'd grown up, so they didn't really have as much contact with him as I did, because I was still only 11 to 12, and I had my days, you know, my years leading up to teenage, whereas they'd really gone past that, you know, so they never really had the attachment that I had with him. Because once they got to teenagers, they were off with their boyfriends and whatever, and leaving home and leaving me behind. You don't realise until it's all over, you know, what you've missed. I mean, we had 3 little girls, and he was a lovely dad, you know, very protective of you. Yeah, but he had to go and leave us all, but he wasn't the only one, was he? There was dads all over the place going. Yeah, 6 years. Came back when I was 11. And as I say, when he came back, I didn't know. I knew he was my dad, but there was no feeling or relationship there until gradually we got to know one another again, you know. Oh, I think my mum was devastated all the time. That's why she suffered with her nerves. But when they come back, I mean, you could tell they were devoted to one another, you know. Absolutely adored one another. And my brother was born. But then she, as I say, she got this neuralgia, and yeah, they love one another to bits right till the end, you know. Being together and always trying to be happy and trying to go on holidays if they could, and taking I mean, I can remember being taken out to the zoo after the war with my friend. As soon as my dad come home, it was trying to get back to normal, you know. Because I think before the war, I think my parents used to take us out for a day, you know, at the seaside, or to say Wanstead Flats was a popular place to go, because that was all green, you know, lovely. Because the buildings are so on top of one another, you know, it was dirty old London. The buildings are all, you look at some of them, they're really dirty, aren't they? Need a good scrub. I don't remember much of it. I just remember going where there was green grass. That's all it was. Didn't see the Queen or any royalty. Well, I wouldn't have known who they were anyway. But yeah, we definitely went to Buckingham Palace to a garden party. Yeah, Princess Margaret visited the club one day, and I remember seeing in a big black car, sitting in the back all on her own like a little lost soul. She didn't even have a lady in waiting with her. She just sitting in this car, and I could see who she was, you know. And she came to the club. That's all I remember, just seeing her sitting in the car. They were all for the working class, I think, the royal family. You know, they thought about them. You know, a lot of people didn't even consider what we were going through. You know, they were living in their nice homes and stuff, but I think they realised, you know, what we were going through. I mean, to send their little girl to see the youth club, you know, that's a big thing, isn't it, really? And see how the other children live and whatever. But this youth club, it had a church attached to it. It was the church that ran it, really. And if you went to the youth club, you had to go to church first, sing some hymns, have a little sermon, and then you could go and play in the grounds, or in the building. Used to go to Sunday school, get all dressed up in your best clothes on a Sunday. What best clothes you had. And yeah, it was nice. It was more like a village really, in Mary Street, I'm sure it was. Couldn't have been any better really. We did have a pie mash shop, which was very popular. It was very cheap, and all the kids used to get sent there in a group. How they coped with it in the shop, I don't know. But I can remember taking about half a dozen of them to the pie shop. If I was going to go to the pie shop, my mum would say, "You have a dinner at the pie shop today." All the little cousins would want to come along, all little, smaller than me. And one of my cousins had a little babe, nearly a baby in arms, She'd take that one and give it to mash with liquor, no pie. It was lovely. We were all well behaved, we'd sit at the tables and be good, It was lovely. But we also had fish and chips, which was, I don't think it was that expensive. Very lovely and fresh, Everything was lovely and fresh. Because I don't know whether they had fridges in these fish and chip shops. I don't think they did actually. But the pie and mash, it was a godsend. And it was lovely, and it still is. I still have pie and mash, if I can. I did once buy some stew deals. I was married then, but I bought these stew deals from the market, and they chopped the heads off and wrapped them in newspaper, right? I went into the butcher's after getting the eels, and I put my hand in the bag, and they were still all moving. Moving without their heads, and I nearly freaked out, and the butcher took them and wrapped them up again a bit more. Oh dear, still moving with their heads off. And there was a famous man, Tubby Isaacs, used to stand at Aldgate, and he was famous for selling his fish stuff, Everybody used to go to Tubby Isaacs because he had lovely fresh fish, At the time we didn't know anything. They didn't publicise it. It wasn't on the news. I don't remember hearing it on the radio. It was not till well after the war. But South Hallsville School had a bomb drop on it.